Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Warcraft replay here with Chaemiko as he... I don't actually know which character that was. I guess it was just a generic character. It could have been Arthas, I guess, since he kinda had like Death Knight armor and had white hair, but I'm not too certain. But yeah, last game was between these two players. Chaemiko versus XiaoKK, both retaining their races and colors. This time around we are on Twisted Meadows. There we go. Yeah, I completely forgot about the last matchup, but considering it was literally just last game, I guess it doesn't really matter too much. As, yeah, it was a really odd game. It definitely felt like XiaoKK would have been the winner if he maybe microed his units a little better, didn't really botch it with the Blade Master. I honestly didn't even anticipate the Blade Master to die just so out of the blue, because he had the invuln. I would have definitely noticed the Blade Master in danger if he had the invuln on, but yeah, even XiaoKK didn't realize he had the invuln, so that was really weird. It did appear like he had enough resources to revive his Blade Master, so there could have been potential comeback for that, but instead he chose to GG out instead, even though he got most of his units away with the TP scroll. So yeah, really odd game. I think maybe 5 more minutes could have like solidly ended the game, but I guess XiaoKK was like, you know what, let's just go to the next one. So this game is going to be on Twisted Meadows, like I said before, heavily going to favor the human player considering it is Twisted Meadows, and humans just going to be broken with this early rock golem start here. Meanwhile, Farseer first, so it's going to be stylistically different, and I am all up for that because last game was pretty traditional, like 1.26 kind of game, so yeah, maybe we'll see something different. Fluid of Accuracy gets picked up for the Archmage, so True Shot Aura for the human player is really good because it hits pretty much all the units that Chaemiko is going to go for, unless he does like a complete switch up and goes uncharacteristically into Castle Tech, which is probably not going to happen because we only see that in undead matchups. So I imagine double Sanctums once again for himself. I mean, the buff's not going to do too much early on because he has mainly footmen, but he should keep that just for the sake of it being a good buff later on. As the Farseer, just being Farseer, normal Farseer, just harassing early on with his Spirit Wolves, as it seems like the footmen were placed to prevent the wolves from sneaking by. As I say that, not enough footmen were used to form a complete wall, and they're going to go and harass the peasants slightly. I say slightly because, yeah, it's only 2 wolves versus like the entire human army, so we'll get re-summoned later on. Farseer. I did notice this early on in 1.29 where the Farseer plays like this and hasn't really managed to get anything, but as far as I know, this is all fine and dandy because right now the Farseer is doing is just keeping his opponent in his base. This is a nice change of pace considering Chaemiko was the one that always attacked his opponent and XiaoKK was the one pretty much turtling at his expansion. So yeah, like I said, nice change of playstyles between these two games. We'll see if it works out later on because I imagine both players go for their early tech, so it's not going to matter too much. But wow, XiaoKK got his tier 2 a lot earlier than his opponent, so that might have things affecting it later on. We might see an early tier 2 hero compared to Chaemiko's. I imagine we will see the Tauren Chieftain second because it is just a pretty good combination between the Farseer and the TC. And there we go, TC, so might have Chainwave, not too sure. I mean, this patch has mainly been the Farseer taking advantage of his Spirit Wolves rather than his Chain Lightning. So we'll see how the Tauren Chieftain gets used And of course, I mean, he's been mainly used for stomps as well, since I think a lot of players have realized that a AoE stun is pretty good. But we might have Shockwave regardless, because it kind of hits a lot of those spellcasters anyway. But like I said, only time will tell, and yeah, eventually Shockwave won't do too much because there will be spellbreakers. Archmage distracting the Farseer a little bit as the footmen do clean up the remaining creep, which is the Overseer, and this is the big one since it does drop the potential claws of attack. But with so many footmen and elementals out, might just not be worth the time. If it was a Blade Master, he would have definitely gone in for the steal, since he does have the Windwalk. But since it's the Farseer and he has really no ways of escaping, sacrificing a TP scroll for the claws might just not be worth it. And I mean, I was speaking like I expect the claws to drop, but I only spoken like I assumed, or I guess the best item that would have dropped is claws. I didn't actually expect the claws to actually drop, so yeah, that was just pure coincidence, as we have an Alchemist coming out as the second hero, so already a bit of a change of pace here for Chaemiko as well, as he goes for the Alchemist second. So I mean, the Mountain King was pretty MVP-like in the last game, doing a lot of thunderclaps, eventual chip damage on the Raiders and Grunts, kind of. And of course, I think he used the thunderclap to kill off the Blade Master as well, so it's interesting to see that the Mountain King is going to take the sidelines here, as the more supportive Alchemist is coming out, so we'll see how it goes. This kind of puts a lot more emphasis on the units now in this game, since we do have the True Shot Aura, and yeah, without the Mountain King, the main source of damage is going to be coming in from the units rather than the heroes this time around, as an early aggression here onto the Orc Burrows. I might actually see an Orc Burrow get taken down this time around, as yeah, XiaoKK kind of TP'd a little too late, and the Archmage is, I'm not sure what he's doing, but I think he's just waiting for that TP scroll. Yikes, that was a huge burst of damage. I think Chaemiko is definitely sweating there, as he really didn't expect that shockwave to come in. So, technically, if that was a War Stomp rather than a shockwave, that might have been able to seal the deal, because it would have stunned the Archmage and prevented him from TPing. But then again, Stomp does do less damage than a shockwave, so he might not have been able to get that surprise burst damage down. So, interesting. But yeah, with the Alchemist, the human army is able to top themselves off very, very quickly and go back into action very soon. Rock Golem is going to be taken out by who? I wonder. It is just going to get de-aggroed here as a boatload of militia coming in, and this is not looking good for XiaoKK, to be honest. Those militia are going to eventually turn the tides. Speed Scroll is being used, but yikes, the Alchemist gets bursted down instead. I was expecting that XiaoKK wanted to get out of dodge as quickly as possible, but screw it, he just went, he just sit and gone straight after the heroes. Might be going after the Archmage himself, but the ensnare did wear off in time, and it seems like XiaoKK is just going to get out of there. Ooh, very close with that 4-man surround. Peasants could definitely surround that Farseer, but it seems like, yeah, with XiaoKK actually committing with this fight, those militia might not want to surround the Farseer after all. They will instead surround the Grunt, since he is pretty much abandoned, and that was a pretty bad all-in-all fight for XiaoKK, to be honest. It seemed like he was pretty confident since he continued to pick fights, but level 1 hero compared to a lot of his units might not be as worthwhile trade as he would have liked. And the Rock Golem does go over to I guess XiaoKK. Yeah. It's either the Greater Mana Potion or it's the full Invuln. Where is the Farseer? Where's the Farseer? There he is. I'm assuming it's going to be the Greater Mana Potion, since I'm pretty sure the Farseer always had that 15-second invuln. So there's that. But the Troll Warlord drops a very, very important item for either the Farseer or the Tyrant Chieftain, which is going to be the Sobi Mask. In addition, with the Mana Pot, Tyrant Chieftain is going to be tossing out waves left and right, and that is pretty good considering we still have yet to see any Spellbreakers, since we don't have a Vault just yet. But that is going to change very soon, as the Vault is on the way. And I guess after these added trainings are complete, we will be seeing double Spellbreakers very, very soon. Troll Warlord on the bottom left is going to be taken out here, as no crucial level ups just yet, but I guess the Archmage hitting level 4 is good enough. It's not a real game-breaking level, but I guess with the Alchemist, more mana per second is always nice. Spell Shield Amulets is going to be alright, I guess, against that Tyrant Chieftain, but not too great, as yeah, Arcane Vault actually gets taken down, so no Spellbreakers anytime soon. The Tyrant Chieftain is going to have a heyday with this, as the Alchemist is going to keep tossing out his healing spray. He is now out of mana, so he needs to be a little careful with his positioning, as yeah, our armor supply is still pretty even. I'm just waiting for another shockwave from the Tyrant Chieftain. There we go, Pot is going to be used, and the Alchemist might find himself getting taken down yet again. Ensnare onto the Alchemist, but he is going to be given an invuln to counteract that ensnare, as he should be getting into a safe position right now. There we go. Spirit Wolves get quickly dispelled, and that is going to get level 3 to the Alchemist, and that is, I believe, level 2 healing spray, so the healing per second is just absolutely crazy. Without constant shockwaves, I mean, the Tyrant Chieftain is not going to find too much. Plus, he was actually being bombarded with that Arcane Tower, so yeah, no mana. Despite Sobi Mask and Greater Mana Pot, he is now out of mana, and sadly not able to break this base, despite doing a ton of damage to his opponent. And more importantly, the Arcane Vault did get taken down, so no Spellbreakers yet again. Gonna have to wait for that. Right? I'm pretty sure the Spellbreakers are tied to the Arcane Vault.
Players' forces are under attack.
As far as I remember. But yeah, Coda Beast is out for XiaoKK. Maybe this time around he will use it to much effect. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But Tyrant Chieftain has been doing quite a bit in terms of damage. Is going to be spotted by that invisible footman. That is really annoying to see, because that did cancel out the healing salve and the clarity potion, so pretty good value on that footman right there. But that did cancel his invis, so he can't go for scouting, but I guess he doesn't really need to scout his opponent's base. I mean, there's not much else to see. As, oh, seems like, I'm pretty sure this is the same footman. So the same footman gets, yeah, it's like a bit of karma there, as the Tyrant Chieftain very much didn't like what he did earlier on. Spirit Link being used on the Orc army as another attack attempt is coming down, as TP Scroll is available and is going to be channeled right now, as yeah, XiaoKK just backs off, so kind of annoying to see that happen. I mean, just spent like hundreds of gold to get back to home, and yeah, didn't really get anything out of it, so nicely done from XiaoKK. Most of the time, people get greedy and stay a little too long, but thankfully this time around he was able to just back off and make his opponent waste gold instead. Voodoo Lounge, I guess, is gonna get cancelled. There we go, is gonna get cancelled there, as a whole flock of blue and yellow birds just take the life of that peon. Level 4 Tyrant Chieftain. Farseer will hit level 4 as soon as he kills one of these priests, but instead the raiders, not sure what they're doing, they're just going for mass ensnares, which is not that great of an idea, to be honest. But yeah, you can see that turn shift. Oh my god, he's looking for a good shockwave position and might be able to get one very nicely done. Level 2 shockwave, able to do quite a bit, but the healing spray from the alchemist once again is going to counteract that damage, as the Spirit Wolves are once again being dispelled by those priests. Kodo Beast did eat a Spellbreaker, so thank god it was able to do something this time around, as both sides just disenchanting and dispelling each other. The Spirit Links, the Spirit Wolves, the Elementals, just everything being cancelled, as the Alchemist is now out of mana, and yeah, it's now just with these units right now, Spirit Walkers, in a good chunk, but no terms of frontline I see for the Orc player. The Kodo Beast is going to get taken down. That is going to bring a Spellbreak back into play, and yeah, without any raiders, the Spirit Walkers and Grunts might not be enough DPS for Chaemiko to be worried about, as the Alchemist is eventually getting enough mana for another healing spray. You can see the turn chieftain, wasn't able to get these low hit point units here in the back. A very good chunking healing wave here for the Alchemist once again. As he gets to that level 4, the turn chieftain needs to be really careful not to overextend. He is slowed, and he doesn't have any terms of escape aside from that speed scroll. We have a surround onto the Farseer, as that is just going to be game for Chaemiko once again. So XiaoKK unable to take these two games. Chaemiko is going to get 2-0 on this, I guess you could call it best of 3. I'm not sure if it was actual series or not, but there we go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed these two games. Yeah, Alchemist, kind of ridiculous. I think he is going to get a slight nerf in the 1.30 patch. But oh well. I mean, Chaemiko did really, really well, and he was very lucky with his first item drop there, which was True Shot. So I'll see you guys again next time, whenever.